In Flix 6.5, we've updated our management console. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Go under management console. Now this will really only apply to admin users or people with admin privileges. If we look in here, we're going to have complete control now over our users, groups, permissions for those groups and permissions for those users. So here we have user management, where we can add in the new user. We'll come back around to that. Group management as well. And this is a new layout. We can see the group title as well as the shows that are associated with that group, and then the roles within that group, and then the people are the users that are assigned to particular roles. And if we come over to permissions, we can see by default Flix has a few different roles already set up for us. So we have the view only role, regular users, show managers, and then we can also create our own role. So if we take a look at our drop down here, we'll see comments and who can comment, who has permissions to do this. So it looks like across the board, all three roles do, with the exception of view only doesn't have the ability to resolve any of the comments. Next one is contact sheets. So we can see that none of these roles have the ability to create, edit, or delete contact sheets, because this is really left up to the admins to do that, to kind of create the contact sheets, delete them, edit them. You can always, like I said, create a new role that allows for that if you want to do something like that. So if we did super role, okay, now we can go in here and then we can assign specific permissions to these new role that we created. So the contact sheets will allow them to create, edit, and delete contact sheets, as well as all this other stuff. Okay, so now that we've created that, let's actually go into group management and we'll set up a couple new groups. Simple enough. Let's just type in the group name here. Maybe this one we'll call it senior artists. We can choose to assign it a show right now or come back around to it. Really, all that's really needed is just a group title for this. We can choose to assign roles to it if we want to do that as well. But for now, let's just create a new group. You can see there, senior artist, new group, currently empty without any information in there. And we'll do one more, maybe just for viewing only for our viewers. So just want to throw people into or users into a viewing only group. We can do that. And we'll set this up now as, we'll say viewers only, maybe just for the Happy Prince one. Can't make any changes to that. And let's just do the OK Prince as well. We can do view only. We can choose a different role, regular users, manager, super duper. Because this is a viewers group, we're just going to leave it at view only. And then this is where we can add in which users have the view only access to this show. So let's go and just select one person there and we'll create that. Now let's actually go ahead and go into our user management and we'll create new users for this. We can see because DJM was added to the viewers only group, they also reside not only in the default group but also with the viewers group as well. We'll go ahead and create new users. User A. Now you have the ability to designate user A as an admin. If I were to select this, then that means this kind of becomes disabled, or I can't assign a group or a role to it, and that's by default because the admin supersedes all of those groups and roles and have full control over everything. For this purpose, we don't need another admin, so we'll just go ahead and assign a group or role to this user that we can throw them into. So we got our default group and our viewers group, and I think it's the senior artist group as well, and then the senior artist group. So depending on where we want to initially place them, we can do that. So let's just say maybe this user A will go into senior artist as a regular user, and we'll create that for now. At any point in time, we can always come back in, edit these settings, and assign different roles and groups to these users. So we'll do the same thing for maybe user B. And once again, not an admin, but we will make them maybe a senior artist as well. create that. Okay. So now we've set up a couple of users. We've set up a couple of groups, and we've also added in an additional role here with specific permissions for this role. So going back to this, now let's take a look at our main schema or setup here. If we take a look, we see the default group has access to all three of our shows we currently have on our shows page. So it's THP, TUP, and TOP. As you can see here. Okay. Let's get rid of this. And within this group that has access to these shows, we have users that have the regular user role, permissions for this. So we can have a list of everyone that's included within this regular user role that's going to have specific permissions to access these three shows. Now, if we look at senior artists, currently there's no show assigned for this, but there are some users in here. So the users that are in here, they have regular user access. So that's user A, user B for that. And then we have our viewers group, which is only going to be able to view PHP show and the TOP show. Okay. And currently there's only one user in there with the view role, but we can go ahead and add in this area as well. So if we edit, we can add in additional viewers or users. So let's go ahead and add in view only. We'll do user A and we'll do user B as well. Oh, you know what? We'll go ahead and take DJM off of here. So there's only two in there. We'll save that. So now user A and user B are only able to view the show THP and TOP with this. Means they can't do certain privileges or have certain permissions that a regular user can use or do. Let's go ahead and actually assign a show maybe for the senior artists. We'll edit this and we'll give them a show. And since looks like the unhappy prince hasn't been used yet, so we'll use this one as well as a regular user. We'll save that. So now we have our groups with the shows that those groups are able to access, and the roles in which or the permissions they have within that show for these users. We'll notice some overlap here. This TUP and TUP here are both regular users, so it's kind of the same. We could essentially, if we wanted to, just move user A, user B into the default group and give them access to that. But then that would also mean that they'd have access to THP and TOP. So this is really how we can really fine-tune the permissions and user management, just being able to assign certain shows to certain groups of people that contain certain roles. All right, so now we have this all set up. Let's actually go ahead and maybe log out of our admin account here, and we'll log into, say, user A. So keep in mind, user A should have access to TUP, THP, TOP, and then regular usage in the TUP show. I think before we do that, well, let's go ahead and remove user B from this so we don't see this one show up for them. We'll save it like that. There we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and log out. Log back in as user A. Okay, so as user A, I see that I'm able to see all of these shows. If I go into here, I believe, which show is this? This was the TOP. Let's see what we can do with the TOP. And then that's about as far as I can get with my permissions based on the TOP show. Now if I go into the TUP show, go in here, create a new revision, create new panels. I can add markers, highlighters. I can version up. I can also add dialogue here or comments. So this comment here, say add comment. That gets logged in there. Add dialogue. That'll show up there. Also create annotations. And pretty much because I have regular user functionality or permissions, I can do all the things necessary I need to use Flix, to get in and out of it, to maybe publish or export specific files, so that I have permission to do. Let's not save this. When I go into the management console as a regular user or someone without admin privileges, this is all I'll see in here. If I try to go to group management, we won't have permissions for this. Studio settings, servers we'll still have access to kind of check on that. And then templates, we don't have access to these contact sheets as well. So that could be more of an admin or a show manager or super duper role that would have those permissions. Now let's go ahead and log in as user B and see what we can do with that. Okay, so user B, we have access to these two shows. Remember, we weren't assigned to the Unhappy Prince show. And as this one, we should just be a viewer, which we are. We can't create anything. Don't have those permissions to do that. View only access, no ability to create any panels. If I ever want to be reminded as a user what my particular roles are available to me, I can go up to File, Management Console, and then I'll see the particular role I have available. Rather than just the admin and non-admin role option found in Flix versions prior to 6.5, the Flix Management Console has been updated to allow more specific groups, roles, and permissions to be assigned to users. Flix 6.5 now includes 4 roles by default, all of which are fully configurable, with the exception of the all-powerful admin role. In addition to OAuth protocols, Flix also supports LDAP. LDAP allows Flix admins to add permissions in Flix based on which group a user belongs to in the LDAP/AD. With the latest LDAP updates in Flix 6.5, LDAP groups can be used to automatically assign group to role pairs. This is done by a new YAML section within the LDAP section roles. Flix reads all configuration options, including LDAP authentication, from a config.yml file. It's stored in the same directory as the Flix server is installed by default. 4 optional fields have also been added: allowed users, blocked users, required groups, and forbidden groups. For more information, please refer to the Flix user manual.